The Nerd,
and the Turd.
Hello, and we're back with another episode of The Nerd and the Turd. Although we are turdless today, I will be running this solo. Hammerpoop is MIA, but hopefully everything's okay. I'm sure he's just probably celebrating St. Patty's. But either way, I've got some picks for this weekend. Of course, March Madness is going on. We're in the midst of it. I'm sitting here watching the Drake-Miami game. No action on that, but this has been a great past few days. So that's that. Let's get to the record for last week. I did pretty good. Chris did pretty bad, but he's carried me many a time. So no complaint there. And we're still kind of battling that 0-6, negative 6.6 unit situation we had a couple weeks ago. We'd be up money if that were the case. But that's what happens. Hey, Mom. Shout out, Mom. She's here. Happy St. Patty's Day. But anyway, we've got picks. We might have another guest come in. So I kind of stall for a minute here. But like I said, this is going to be a shorter show. That's for sure. Actually, we'll just jump right into the picks. Why don't we do that? We'll see. People can catch it back on the replay. I've got 3 plays. 2 of them are college basketball. 1 is XFL. I did lose an XFL bet last night. It was the first one in a long time. The Roughnecks got beat by the Sea Dragons, who are another good team. There's 4 bad teams and 4 good teams in that league. So there's no problem there. But I've got another bet too. We did hit the Roughnecks last week. I'm going to continue to be on their train. They are the best team by far and away on both sides of the ball in the XFL. And if you found ways to tail the XFL, it's football in spring. It's not for everyone, but it's another way to make money. So anyway, let's jump up. You know what? We've got our guest. I wouldn't necessarily call. He's not a turd villain. He's more of a nerd like me. But if you don't know who he is, well, you're gonna learn and appreciate it. So another XFL capper, by the way, DJ Big Boss.
What up, though?
What
How
up,
you feeling
buddy?
today, Dave?
I'm feeling good. Like I said, I don't know where my partner is. I hope everything's okay. I haven't been able to get a hold of him all day, but I'm hoping he's neck high in green beer. You know what I mean?
Green beer. It is St. Patty's Day. Happy St. Patty Day
Yep.
to all my Irish folk out there. We get along with the Irish around here. That's for sure.
I do too. I never put a lot of stake in the holiday because I don't need an excuse to drink or wear green. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
to each their own.
Honestly, my last name is Irish.
Okay.
I don't know how far that go. I have some traits in my family. I got a couple redhead cousins, green eyes, blue eyes, all that good stuff. So I claim my Irish side too. I've never verified it or nothing crazy, but as far as the history goes, yeah, I'm a little Irish, and I like the Irish. You already know.
Yep. We've got Jameson will be the drink tonight. Definitely not eating corned beef because it is also Lent. And my mom, who actually is in the chat right here, she was telling me she's making corned beef and cabbage, and they don't do the fasting thing on the no meat on Fridays. But how does a Catholic, with a St. Patty's being a Catholic holiday, how do they celebrate St. Patty's? Besides, how do they eat corned beef and cabbage? Do they wait till the next day? They must. I mean,
they could. I mean, they just drink all day. That's what the drinking thing is about. You just drink all day and then wake up and eat.
Yeah, that's probably what they do. Probably forget about eating. But how have you been doing? I'm going to start right off with the XFL. How has that been going for you?
In case y'all didn't check my Twitter last night, 3-0 on XFL. And not only was it a 3-0, it was a big money line dog in the Sea Dragons at big plus money. I think I got 184. Some people got like 160. But it was a bunch of different numbers jumped around. But yeah, cashed that, you know what I'm saying, last night. And overall, my record is it's on my page somewhere. I had it pinned up, but then I had to put some other stuff. But yeah, the record is definitely in the positive every week. Even though I start off sometimes 0-2 or something like that, and then I keep playing it. I mean, there's so many looks on it. I just keep playing my looks, and they're working out for me. Last night I had a big look for the Sea Dragons. They had some shortcomings, but they're a really good team. I double checked it because XFL Newsroom, I believe it's called, they got the stats up there. So I double checked it. They were leading in all the rushing, passing, everything was legit. So I said, man, I'm gonna take that chance. Everybody was on the Roughnecks. They were 4-0 and haven't been beaten. But then it was a week 4-0 because they got their first three games at home, and then the only away game was against the weakest team in the XFL. So it was just a soft spot for them. Seattle Dragons at home. We got +4 on the Seattle Dragons, but we just took it on the money line for a game. We took it first half +2, and then we also took the under first half. So my underlook on that one is that so the Sea Dragons, every extra point, they like to go for 3. And they don't really have like a clear play it just looked like they just winging it to a 3. Like yesterday, they finally had got one, and it was kind of weird in itself. But usually they touchdowns end in 6. Most of the teams in XFL, they touchdowns usually end in 6. So you figure if you get 3 touchdowns, because I was going to go on the over because I thought it was going to be like 18 and a half, right? So 3 touchdowns, 666. Excuse me, but that's 18. So we right there at that point. So any extra point in between would put us over. But it was 21 and a half. So I was like, oh, no. I had capped it all day to take it over. I was like, nah, I'm going the other way. That's too high. But it ended up being only like 6 or 9. It was very low in the first half. So we cashed that too.
Well, that's awesome. I was on the other side. I just decided I'm going to take the Roughnecks I'm going to try them one more time. I didn't feel good about this game because they hadn't played anyone, and that's what people are saying. There's 4 teams that are good or decent, and there are 4 teams that are not so good. The Roughnecks have been playing those bad teams, and also the schedule is kind of weird. Like I'm looking at the game that I'm looking at is the Battlehawks and the Defenders. It's only 5 weeks into the season, and they've played each other twice, and they haven't played some other teams. I don't quite understand why they do that, but I was on the other side last night. But why don't we talk about the game that I have a pick in for tomorrow, and that's in that game. And I like the Battlehawks getting 2 points. The Defenders are I thought they were the second best team to the Roughnecks. But when I started to look at, and this is a team, Defenders are 4-0, Battlehawks are 3-1. When I look at the game that the Battlehawks lost, which was to the Defenders, there was just an abnormal amount of turnovers, especially on the Battlehawk side, who I think have the best quarterback. It's either Brandon Silvers on the Roughnecks or A.J. McCarron on the Battlehawks. And when he's had a good game, they've won. It's been 3-1. I don't think there's that many turnovers. I think there were 2 pick sixes, or a pick 6 and a fumble for a TD, if I remember correctly. So I'm taking 2 points with the home dog against a team that I'd usually be back in the Defenders, but in looking at how the last game played out and how A.J. McCarron's been playing, I think it's a Battlehawk spot. What about you?
Oh, well, we on the other side again. On the side, I like DC Defenders. I like the tempo of the DC Defenders. I like their aggressiveness, but I hate both of their quarterbacks, Derek King and Temu. I didn't like neither one of them in college or whatever, but they really been holding it down, trying to stay mistake free as possible. And the St. Louis Battlehawks on defense, they've just been reaping the benefits of people making mistakes and staying in games, and that's how they got to their wins. And as far as A.J. McCarron, I think A.J. McCarron, he has the heart of a lion to want to play at this age and all that good stuff, but I think he's not very mobile, and I think sometimes when they pressure him, he folds because he can't really go nowhere. We seen him do a shovel pass a couple times and some other desperado type stuff that he got away with. That as the season continues, you might not keep getting away with that. So I like the DC Defenders on the road to get a road win to prove that they belong in that top 3. That's the task for them. And special information right here. The main play of it is the over 43.5, or even probably looking to go over first half. DC Defenders and the St. Louis Battlehawks, they both train together. They're in the same training facilities out in Texas. So all of the 3 games that was played, that was between, and one of them was them as well, that was between the 2 teams that I call them stablemates. The 2 stablemates, all of them went over. All the big over games that you see, that was the situation. Makes a lot of sense. All of them had fights. Even one player, because they have the mics on it, he was like, "Yeah, this is for the what do you call it, like for the rights to talk shit and shit around the place." They say these guys eat together, they train together, they travel together, they're housed together. So I'm definitely taking the over first half and full game in that game. But I'm gonna be on the DC Defender side. Now the Battlehawks, I was on the Battlehawks last week, but it was against the Renegades, and the Renegades they're kind of overhyped up because they come out of Arlington, where the headquarters for XFL is. They did their little thing so far, and it's time for them to go down there with the Guardians. So St. Louis benefited from that, and it was their first game at their home stadium. So as far as ticket sales, though, DC Defenders and St. Louis Battlehawks have the most crowd attendance and all that good stuff. So it's going to be a good rowdy matchup right here. And I'm taking the over, and I'm taking DC Defenders. But I'm just going to put some light on the DC Defenders. I could be totally wrong. If they make mistakes, Battlehawks will take advantage of it, and we'll have a whole nother game. But either way it goes, it's going over.
Yeah. I like overs in this league. I backed off them a little bit. But the only and like I said, I was on DC. It's kind of like the gambler's first glance with Razor. I was looking for the Defenders, but then I looked at the last game. So it's going to come down to it's going to come down to turnovers. That's what it's going to come down to. And if AJ McCarron can keep playing well, I mean, relatively well. I mean, he's a washed-up NFL quarterback. But anyway,
hey, he's my age, or he's our age, shall I say? And you know, he some days he can't make it to the field like that.
Okay, well, he doesn't have to do much against a lot of those players, but anyway, hey Rickett, buddy, thanks. Anyone's watching, hit the like, subscribe to the channel, drop your picks in the chat if you want to. We're gonna get on. I've got 2 more plays, and then and anything DJ has, we can do that too. We're in college basketball though. We're in March Madness.
Oh
so,
yeah.
Remember that? Remember that thing we're in?
Oh no, I've been cashing today, so I'm well aware of March Madness today. But the first day, I got hit hard, Dave. I got hit hard, but I was trying to figure it out. Like, how did I end up in this dark place? Because I did great in the championship weeks, right?
Yep.
So I'm like, man, what happened to me was I ended up filling out one of those doggone brackets, which I always tell myself not to do because it messes up everything. Because, every time I do something, I'm going to use some type of edge or strategy. So you start looking for the sweet spots. You're going to get the favors on there, but you got to find the dark horses and the sweet spots. So that carried over into my betting. And my betting I had Charleston, I had the teams that were, the sweet spots, just trying to get the upset team. And it didn't work out at all for me yesterday. So today I toned it down a lot. I picked my spots well, and I'm doing okay so far. I need Memphis, and Memphis. It was kind of a crapshoot to me, but I'm. It's not a great edge, but I'm just riding with Penny in this one. I don't think Penny goes out this early. Of course, he's been progressing each year at what he's doing with the team, and his struggles. So I think he gets a round or 2 overall, and gets there tonight.
I like Penny a lot as a coach. Some people don't. They have different opinions. I was on Memphis. That was a smash spot against Houston because if there's one team that plays Houston hard, it's Memphis. I'm on them big. So I filled out a bracket and I put it away, but I already know I'm dead because Arizona was a final team for me. So bye-bye. And you can't win a bracket if your other team is the biggest favorite. I think Houston wins the whole thing. But either way, it's been a good tournament. Let's talk about this pick. So I also like UCLA to go a long way in this. Who do I have coming out of that side? I don't have UCLA. I have Gonzaga beating them, but UCLA could do it too. I think that Northwestern, they're kind of an enigma to me. I kind of almost don't think they should be there. They're just not that great of a team. They don't score points. They got a good defense. They don't score points. And they play in the Big Ten, who has some good teams, but a lot of suspect teams. And you could say that about UCLA too. But the main two reasons I like this game, and them to cover 7.5, which is a big number, and it's dropping, you can probably get a better number, but I think they win by double digits, is because Northwestern hasn't seen a complete team like this, a team that's better than them on defense and way better than them on offense. They don't have those. It Purdue's the only team in the Big Ten that's that way. But when you look at UCLA, they've won 13 of their last 14 games. One of those was against Arizona, who, although went out, I think was one of the best teams in the country. And then the only loss they've had in those 14 games was a 2-point loss to Arizona. So I like the UCLA to roll. I like momentum in the tournament. I think a lot of people might not like this spread. I think a lot of people might want to be taking points with the defensive team. I just think Northwestern is outclassed.
Okay, so I look at it a little different because I have to get the bracket stuff out of here. So I'm not worried about what matchup I'm looking for UCLA or whatever. I'm just looking at it like this. From what I perceive from UCLA overall in the season, this is how I see it. UCLA definitely goes a few rounds for sure. They could be Final Four material for sure, but they get stopped somewhere in there because in the times that they showed some of their weakness, they just couldn't get it together. They can have one of those moments. Remember, you got to win like 4 or 5 games in a row to get there. So I think somewhere in there it stops for UCLA just on a bad night or just run up against the wrong team that's clicking a little more than them. And it's going to be because of their weak spots. It's going to be because, Tyler is not the super 3-point shooter. I mean, even though he can, he's more of a facilitator, kind of playmaker, and their talents are arranged a different way. So I see that they're gonna go a little bit, and then something's gonna fall off. And I can't say exactly when, but I'm looking for the spot when they're gonna fall off.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, you look at them versus SC. They were creaming SC the last game they played them, and then SC came back to win in like blazing fashion. But look what happened to SC today. I think just Northwestern is outclassed in the situation. I don't know if you I've followed Northwestern, but I think they're the lowest.
Northwestern too.
They're the lowest scoring team in the tournament, I think.
True, but they have great defense. And that's what gets them where they're going. But Northwestern, what they doing, it's not Final Four material for sure. Sweet 16 is a great shot for Northwestern. Anything less than that, it's a ticking time bomb to me. But I think they may even get up into the Sweet 16 spot and get a tough opponent and take them out, and end up in the 8. But after the 8, they probably don't go any further. But I like Northwestern with cash, good money with Northwestern all year. So I'm gonna take that to the bank. Yeah. And I don't know, but as far so with all my visions, I don't see a clear vision. Like this year, there's no clear team. I mean, Houston is really good, but they had to come back. Purdue is really good, but they almost got waxed. You know what I'm saying? And then the whole Arizona thing, how does a Pac-12 school, Arizona was top of the Pac-12 schools, get knocked off by Ivy League school like that this early in the thing? So is that saying that the Pac-12 was just beating them up amongst each other and really not that good overall? Because SC's out, Arizona's out, Oregon's still in.
That wasn't the same. That wasn't the same Arizona. I watched the game. That was not the Arizona team that I've seen ever. They were sluggish, slow. They didn't give a shit. It was the weirdest thing ever. And Princeton didn't play that well. They just beat them.
Somebody got paid. Is that what you said? Somebody got paid?
No, someone said that, but no, I don't believe in that garbage.
I don't either, man. But the guy at my job, he makes a joke about it all the time, man. He said we could just get rich if we just had one kid. We could say, "Miss them free throws, man. Here, Put 100,000 on it.
Maybe
I say,
maybe it
nah,
was a
man.
mafia thing. I don't know, but it wasn't. That was not Arizona, and you're not going to tell me that Arizona is not a good team. Arizona, when they're not that game, was one of the best teams in the country, and they were ranked 8th, so in second seed. But anyway, I think Duke's got a good shot now. Houston, I think, wins the whole thing. I think Kansas and Purdue get knocked off. I see UConn played. I had them today laying 9 points. I forgot about that Nagano kid, or that he when he's on and they can shoot threes.
Yeah.
UConn's a good team, bro. They
had
watch
to
out.
come back. They had to come back too.
They
So,
did, and then they blew them out by 20 points. So.
yeah, but all that's halftime adjustments and stuff.
Yeah.
And as you proceed on in the tournament, you're gonna run up against coaches that's better than that, and you can't allow to have those time gaps. You'll lose the whole thing. So it's a rough game, college basketball, man. I mean, I see college football way easier this when it comes down to this, like bowl games and stuff like that. But this stuff right here, man, it's like any. So let me ask you a question. Who do you feel is that? Who is that team? And I'll tell you who mine's is, so you can get an idea. Who's that sleeper team that's not gonna make it? Let's say they might make it to the Sweet 16, but somewhere they have already surprised people, probably, or gonna surprise people in this first round, and then they're gonna get another one in the next round, and then they might get knocked off after that. Who do you think that team is?
So,
as I say, Toledo.
Okay, so you mean is Toledo's playing in the NIT? I think.
Yeah,
I think they are. But no, Toledo was one of those teams. But I think I know what you're saying. I'll tell you this right now. I think I had in my bracket, and this is my next pick. It's a good segue. Penn State. I think Penn State goes to the Elite Eight, and I don't think a lot of people have them doing that. I think, and by the way, they're playing Texas, another absolutely out of this world good team. There's no problem with Texas at all in any way. I just think this is a pure momentum play. I think this is just they're a 10 seed that are going to go far. Penn State, the last 7 games they've played tournament teams, and they've beaten 6 of them, and they almost beat Purdue, which would have been 7 straight tournament teams in a row. They look great. They embarrassed Texas A&M last night, which I didn't think was a great team, but so many people were on Texas A&M. So I'm getting 5.5 points against Texas. I think Penn State keeps it close. I think they have the momentum. I think they're kind of like a team like UCLA was a few years ago when they were the 11th seed. They've got the momentum. They got the juju.
Yeah, I think this Kent State team, and I've seen a couple people.
I got them tonight, bro. I got them tonight.
On them. I think this Kent State team, because they play great defense.
Yep.
They could be a great. They could go maybe two more rounds. You know, knocking off Indiana would be a big chunk of it, and then maybe they get another one. And as soon as you think that they're gonna be Loyola Chicago or something, that's when they get beat.
Yeah, I'm with you. Kent State's a bet tonight. Grand Canyon's still going. I don't know. I have the over in that game. I don't know how that's going, but we're looking good in that game. It started off slow.
76 points in the first half. And
they started off really 155, but they started off really slow for the first 9 minutes. So I like that. But those are my plays. XFL, I got the Battlehawks who are on different sides. UCLA laying points, Penn State getting points. I will post that right now because that's what we do. Boss, if you've got anything else to pitch or another play you want to talk about or a sport or whatever you want, you got the floor, man.
Well, I'll drop the rest of my XFL look. So I definitely like the over as a main play in the DC Defenders game. Vegas Vipers. I don't like the 7.5 against the Guardians. I'm looking to take the Guardians in the first half, and I got to double check the weather on Vegas because however that field sits out there in Vegas, the wind and the rain really kick their ass. So I got to double check the weather on that one. But I'm looking for a spot to take the Guardians because the Guardians show defense sometimes or whatever. Vegas sometimes it's just unorganized. And putting the 7.5 with them, that's a lot. I might take Guardians first half and full game. And in the Renegades and the Brahmas, we going with the Brahmas because the Renegades is the fake team. Brahmas are at home. They need this win. The championship game is going to be in San Antonio. So they need this to keep the stadium lights on and keep everybody showing up. So I'm taking Brahmas -3. I'm taking the Guardians first half plus whatever they give me, maybe full game, and I'm taking the over in the DC Defender game.
I like a lot of those looks. The thing, the Guardians and Vegas, those are the two crummy teams. I was wondering how to manipulate that. Staying away, but I think I lean with you. I also lean anytime I see a 35 or 36 in this league, I lean to the over. So I'm probably going to bet the over in that Renegades game. But my best look is on the other side of the Battlehawks. But I'm glad we were able to find ways to bet that league, because I knew nothing about it until you brought it up, and then we came up with a little strategy, and away we go.
I just, I didn't know what the ride. I had got on the ride during the pandemic, the last time it came, and I didn't know what the ride was going to look like this night. I just noticed the skill I learned from the pandemic is taking small markets and using what you know in sports capping to manipulate those markets. And the best part of that is know-how. So in this one, they gave you enough tools with the websites to be able to know who the players are, where they came from, all that information, and now it's just you against the bookies. And during the pandemic, I was doing esports, man. I was doing the esports for real, believe it or not. I got all the way down into it, and I didn't even know how many sports figures and rappers own teams in esports and all that stuff. But finding the information about the players or anything like that, it was tough for me. So, I did it until horse racing came alive, and I stopped doing that. But yeah, man, manipulating small markets, man, you got to have a ace in the hole. Whatever your favorite sport is, great, but keep teaching yourself, learn something new, keep an ace in the hole. Hey, I can do a little, you didn't know I could bet snookers or whatever it is, your pleasure. But yeah,
just don't bet those simulations. Those are silly to bet. Don't do that.
I couldn't do the simulation, and that was another thing I learned about the esports. I'm like, they are actual teams that are actual people in actual places, and just so happened there's a esports arena near my house. I got to go to the esports arena right there and check it out. I'm like, oh, it's all real, so it's a solid market. But some guys I know, a lot of campers out there, was on that simulation when that simulation came out. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, nah, I can't do that one.
Yeah, no. All right, buddy. Well, anything else you got? We'll get up on out of here. Get on with watching the rest of college basketball. What else you got?
Hey, man, y'all stay safe. Have a great weekend, man, and keep a couple drinks going on, and stay away from them kids, man. Let the kids have their side of the house, and you keep your side of the house, because they're going to do what they do, and you watch your games and be a nice person, y'all.
All right, guys. That's DJ Big Boss. Go follow him on Twitter. Who Bangin' Sports on Twitter and on YouTube. Go watch their stuff. They're putting out fire content all the time. Picks from Dave every night. We do live streams. We do this show. And if you've seen Hammerpoop, tell him I said hello and he missed the show. So anyways, have a good weekend, guys, and best of luck at the window. We'll see you.